2, 3, 4.
We are Movie Menu Reviews, emancipating ourselves from award season. On today's menu, we'll be discussing the Academy Awards ceremony and reviewing Birds of Prey. Stay tuned. Welcome, ladies and gents. I'm Dan the Man Muñoz, host of Movie Menu Reviews, your weekly movie news and reviews podcast. A little under the weather, but I'm still here.
You're still alive.
I'm still alive somehow. Live on Facebook. If you're watching us live on Facebook, thank you so much. Or if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, or wherever you listen to podcasts, thank you so much. Joining us today, we have a special guest, streamer, gamer, all-around badass, Candace Dovie.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. We're so excited. Less excited, though, we're here is our senior panelist, Z.
Yes, I'm in recovery right now. I am about 60 minutes away from my last drink, so I'm doing okay.
He's surviving himself too. I will say great job on you and Christopher Velasco if you're watching or listening on live Facebooking and tweeting.
Yes,
great job.
Our annual get drunk while watching the Oscars because oh boy is it long and miserable.
Also long and miserable is my co-host Mike Stan.
Hey! Wow.
That's the first time I've been described as long and miserable.
Is that a compliment?
It is a I'll take it as one.
Feels like a compliment.
Thank you, Dan.
Long and miserable.
I thank you.
My pleasure. Any way I could compliment Mike, I guess, is the best way.
Yeah.
So we have a lot to discuss.
Lots.
So the Oscars literally just finished about an hour ago or so.
An hour and a half. Yeah.
So let's go ahead and jump right into the winners of the Oscars.
Sure.
And actually, we should talk about the winner of the overall Oscar poll.
The Oscar bet, I think, is what you mean.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We did put money into
it. The winner of that Oscar poll was our guest from last week, Christopher A. Velasco. Congratulations, you son of a bitch.
Yep.
You won with 16 correct. Mike,
wow,
who is usually...
That's really good.
Yeah, that's great.
That's really good.
Chris does research. He really goes through the details, and actually what he does, he looks at a lot of websites and just kind of garners whether or not that category... He could become a bookie somewhere.
But what did he win?
$20.
Oh, that's cool.
Mike, though, is usually the loser.
Yeah.
Is usually like way last in place. Not even like 10 right.
No, yeah.
He's in second place this time.
Wow.
With how many?
With 12.
Are you proud of me, Dan?
I am. I'm very proud.
Because I live for you to be proud of me. You know?
I know that's what you love. And though I'm never proud of you, I'm proud of you this time.
Okay. Thank you.
Good job, Mike.
Thank you.
And tied for third was me and Z, which I'm going to say...
Which is hilarious because...
let me...
Yeah, go ahead.
It's embarrassing for me.
For you, especially. Yeah, not for me.
No, not for you. Because I actually, answered every single category. Z
did not.
Wow.
Z's
Z had 3 blank, and then you got the supporting actress completely wrong.
Yeah.
And we still managed to tie.
Z was like the kid that
is really embarrassing.
He would color in the sea bubble.
And
he does better than everyone else.
Well, and I think the sad part is that Dan also looks at the other award ceremonies. He knows who's going to win.
I usually win. I only lost 1 year, but I'm always the winner. And I am not the winner this time.
Unless you're against Chris, in which case he will always defeat you. That's the only year you won was because Chris wasn't playing that year.
No, I beat Chris once.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. But
because Chris is usually our guest for the Oscar show.
Yeah. So he killed it. But you know what? It's really funny watching you and me lose to Mike.
Hey, I think that's more embarrassing.
I'm so glad we didn't do a slap bet this year.
I'm happy to embarrass you guys for once.
So let's talk about some of the winners for the night. So Brad Pitt won for Best Supporting Actor.
Yep.
Laura Dern won for Best Supporting Actress.
Everyone could have predicted. I mean, I feel like the top, right? Those 4 categories. Everyone
except you, but yes.
No. Don't get me wrong. I didn't want them to win. I knew they were going to win. That's entirely different because it's like we all knew that Joaquin Phoenix was going to take the Joker. Yeah. We knew that Brad Pitt was
Renee Zellweger was going to win. Renee
Zellweger was a shoe-in. I didn't want Laura Dern to win because I don't think she deserved the win. She was in the movie for 10 minutes, so why would she get the supporting Academy Award for that?
That's crazy.
You know, and so those were predictable categories.
Yeah. So let's talk about unpredictable categories.
Yeah.
So who won that you guys are the most surprised about?
Well, I think we are all surprised. I mean, I literally. So can I just very quickly?
Sure.
I
go
watched,
right ahead.
I watched the Oscars.
I'm surprised you're asking permission.
I know. But I watched the Oscars like I watched, or people watch Super Bowl. Like people watch Super Bowl, they get the pizza out, they get the nachos out. That is literally me during this night. So this night, I broke out the drinks. There's a how to make an old fashioned for the Oscars, if you want to, on our Facebook, because I definitely got some old fashions in me right now. Got myself a giant ass pizza and ate it, and then just shout at the screen. So when the final category was announced, I leaped like out of my chair, and I was in like my heart was racing. Like I'm pretty sure if you look at my Fitbit and you can tell like the heart rate monitor, I was in like as if the 49ers pulled it out of whatever the inning they were in that they lost in.
He just said inning.
Yeah.
Talking about football.
I don't know sports. But the point is, my heart leapt out when I saw Parasite win Best Film because nobody in their right mind could have predicted that, and it's the first time an international film has ever won that category.
I was surprised it was even nominated.
You know who did predict it?
Who?
Chris.
Chris,
and that's why he won.
And that's why he won. You're right. So, anyways, that was the most unpredictable thing that happened.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Let's talk about some other like highlights of the Oscars. I thought that Chris Rock and Steve Martin were pretty hilarious with their jokes.
Yeah, but I mean, in pros and cons, I kind of feel I love what Rock said about Cynthia Erivo. Did such a great job in Harriet hiding black people that the Academy got her to hide all the black nominees because he really was taking shots. But I think that also highlighted because I wanted to see when Chris Rock was up there, I wanted to see him continue, but it kind of proves that the Oscars do need a host. Like I did feel like there was no good transitions between.
It's weird though because last year without a host, like a lot of people were saying it was so successful because it shaved time off the running time.
It did not this time.
No, this time it added to it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's because the way that they introduced each category, they literally had an actor introduce themselves and then introduce another actor who introduced the nominees.
Yeah.
It's like, and then not only did they introduce the nominees, they played a video of all the clips.
The video montage, which usually takes place over, and the nominees are, you see these little things.
Yeah,
but then really after that...
And then they would introduce the nominees again.
Yeah, it was so repetitive that it really it dragged on. I think the
Oscars, I know this is going to be like past 8:00.
Well, it was 3.5 hours, and you could tell because at the very end of the show, they literally turned the lights off on the best film.
Yeah,
like that's how you know that they were running so late.
Which is
overtime.
So disrespectful.
I agree. Although to be fair. Did you really need her to be up there and talking? Because I think she kind of...
It's their moment.
It is their moment, but she really...
They get
who brought on the grandmother? That's what my question was.
They get one moment.
She was like,
was their moment.
He was like, Director Ho, he's a really nice guy. He makes jokes. He makes fun of himself. That was her speech. And I was like, okay, we didn't need this. We could just cut the lights.
I'm sure that wasn't her speach until they cut the lights.
All right, that's fair.
And she probably just was like, well, fuck it. I guess I'll just say this.
Yeah. I thought that was funny. Yeah. But I think my highlight was Joaquin Phoenix's speech. I think that thing, like most of it was... I
preferred his BAFTA speech more.
His BAFTA speech was fantastic, but I do love that at the very last... So if anyone knows anything about Joaquin Phoenix's history, he has a brother, River Phoenix, who died due to a drug overdose. He's never talked about him ever on camera, and he read a poem of his, and he broke down. And as I saw him breaking down, me and my wife were there, and I started breaking down just watching him. It was so crushing to watch. Which then, bookended with Renee Zellweger reading the worst possible speech ever So it was like this weird balance of like, real emotion and just real debt. And then Renee Zellweger going like, let me thank everyone who's made me famous.
Well, no, she gave a shout out to immigrants, which was nice.
It took her a long time to get there, though. That's, I think, my problem.
But then she thanked first responders as well.
It was weird. It sounded like a political speech.
It was a weird dichotomy of things to be thinking because, yeah.
It was a political speech, is what but it was like as if she wanted to run for president or something.
I don't think her speech was the worst one, though.
You don't think so?
No.
Which one was the worst for you?
That's a good question.
All right, moving on.
Think about that.
Yeah, let me just think about that. But yeah, I think that I think what I loved the most was it became an ongoing joke that Bong Joon-ho, the director of Parasite, wanted to get a drink, but they couldn't let him get a drink because he kept winning stupid awards. And he was like, I'm not going to go get a drink. That was his speech for when he won for screenplay. And then he comes back for directing. He's like, I still want to get a drink. And then he goes for international. He's like, come on, guys. So you could tell him he's getting more flustered the more he's winning. And he's like, I just want.
I'm sure now he's drinking them all.
Yeah.
He's drunk right now.
You drank enough for him.
I did. I kept on drinking shots for him. I was like, I got you, man. I got you, Director Ho. I've got you covered here. Just shooting down the whiskey.
Candace, did you think that Joaquin Phoenix was going to win? Because I know you saw Joker and you enjoyed it.
So that was the only movie that I saw that was nominated for the Oscars because I'm terrible. But from watching that movie, I absolutely knew he was going to win. Yeah, for sure. He did so well. I have nothing to compare it to because I didn't see any of the other performers, but he did so good as the Joker, in my opinion, that I was like, he can't not take that award.
Yeah.
It was for him it was his to lose. Yeah.
Sure, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how they say it.
What?
Yeah.
I think that's how they say it.
Well, yeah, and I think honestly, like in comparison to the rest, like they're all heavy hitters, and we're all, and I as you said, was it his BAFTA award, his SAG award nomination, his win for that,
right,
where he thanked Heath Ledger, and he thanked all the other actors. He first thanked all the other actors. He recognized how much better they were. But then, and I kind of wish he did say it in this one, but it's fine because he did an amazing job on this one. But he said, like, thank you to Heath Ledger, on whose shoulders I would not have been able to make this movie. Because, like, to recognize that your predecessor, who made the character far more darker than we've seen on film, allowed for him to do that was awesome. And I think he's a great actor. I think he suffers from a lot of social anxiety. People give him shit for it. But honestly, the guy went up there and he had a speech that he had in his heart, and he, like, poured it all out. He might be like super anxious, and because of that,
I know there's a lot of people that are like, "What the fuck did he just say?" But he said it from the heart.
He said it from the heart, and he clearly knew what he wanted to say when he went up there. He literally shushed everyone. He was like, "Stop it!" Like it was great. It was really fun to watch.
All right, any like negative moments that you guys?
Jeez.
Or like what the fuck moments?
Well, Renee Zellweger takes the cake for me.
I don't think so.
The other, it wasn't too bad. But I think the technical stuff that I really didn't like was that all the microphones stopped working during the Like Eminem,
it was like if we produced a show or
I
something,
know.
like so much technical difficulty was going on.
I'm not gonna lie. One of the jokes that I just cut out from like typing in was, "What is it? Michael Garza's doing the sound at the Oscars, or what the hell's going on?" The sound kept cutting out.
Ooh.
Eminem was doing he was doing his song, and you couldn't hear him at all. I thought it was gonna lose
he
his
was
shit.
cussing. He was cussing.
No. He comes out first, and you can't hear anything. You cannot hear a word he is saying, and you can hear him because he's shouting everything he's saying.
Sounds like my Twitch streams.
No. I think there was like a playback.
There was also
that he was following.
Oh, but that might be it too. But it was just and he wasn't the only one who had the weird cutoffs.
What did you guys think about Eminem performing at the Oscars?
It was so what?
Why?
Like, why are we? Yeah.
So from what I read an article that kind of explained why, but not really. It was like. That song was nominated in 2002.
It was.
But Eminem did not perform the song. He didn't even show up to the ceremony. And this is like him doing it again.
Too late.
Yeah.
Like
18
years later.
Yeah. 3.5 hours. We watched the Oscar. I watched the Oscar for 3.5 hours.
Would have been cool if it wasn't so long. It was such a long Oscars.
That's what I mean. It was just such a long
And
thing.
don't get me wrong, I love Eminem, but like What?
Yeah, no. It was so. It was
a out of left field.
out of the left field completely.
But Mike, you disagree?
I was wondering. I was like, was this like in a movie recently?
No.
Or?
No.
Yeah, I was like, I was trying to make the
It
connection.
wasn't even nominated for best song.
Yeah, I was just confused.
This is so random.
Nothing
It was
against
so
Eminem, but you know.
Yeah, I think my other thing that I really did like though was the multicultural sing along to Frozen 2. Nobody liked the movie, nobody liked the song, but it was great to watch all those women hit their marks, and I was like, "This is cool."
Yeah, I enjoyed that too. I also enjoyed Cynthia Erivo's.
Erivo was fabulous.
Amazing singer.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I had thought I picked Elton John, and I'm like, man, I should have changed my vote to Cynthia.
Well, no,
she was amazing.
but obviously you won the point. But for that,
No.
But she should have won. She should have won.
No. It turned out I did vote for Cynthia, and I didn't vote for Elton John by mistake.
Wow.
So you screwed that one up.
I screwed that one up.
Yeah. But I agree. I think she should have won it. I think that Elton clearly won it because everyone wants to party with Elton. That's really why he won. I think the other thing that I really, really disliked, but at the same time loved. It's weird. I have a love-hate that James Gordon and Rebel Wilson showed up as cats.
Oh, I loved it. I thought that was so funny.
I know. It
was for the best visual effects nomination.
And they looked way better than they did in the movie.
That was the point.
I think so, too. And again, I was like a weird...
Because Cats was not nominated for best visual effects.
For anything.
That's awful. So they came in as the Cats, theater gear.
Yeah.
And it was hilarious.
It was great. No, that's what I'm saying. It was a weird moment of like I don't know how I should feel about this, but I loved James Gordon just smacking the shit out of the microphone like a cat. Like he just kept pawing it. And
it was them making fun of themselves, which I really appreciated.
It was really well done. No, I really liked it. But I think the last thing that I really just overall was Parasite winning every possible category. Not expected. That was the wow factor of the whole night. It took it, and honestly, I'll say it here. You guys are right. Parasite was fabulous. I watched it yesterday, and it blew me away. I woke up in the morning, and I was describing it beforehand, where I was just thinking about a man's nose, and I should not be doing that at any given moment. But because that movie was so impactful, I just kept thinking about the difference between being really, really poor and being rich, and it was just an amazing movie. So I'm glad that movie won overall everything.
One of my favorite speeches, it actually teared up, was Bong Joon-ho.
Get it right.
For Best Director.
Yeah.
When he quotes Martin Scorsese.
Yes.
And then everyone stands up and gives applause and everything.
To Scorsese, yeah.
I thought that was a beautiful speech. I was just like, that was my favorite speech of the night, was that speech.
Yeah, I think any of the speeches at the awards that recognize that, you are the best actor, but that is for that category on people's whims, but it doesn't mean that you are the best actor in your field. That's what makes those moments that much.
Well, I felt like he was including us, or he was like, I studied film, studying Martin Scorsese's movies in cinema school, and now to be nominated with him at the Oscars and to win is totally. Such a dream come true.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Well, and in recognition of Quentin Tarantino, I personally didn't think that Quentin Tarantino deserved the Oscar anyways, but the recognition that he helped him along the way. And what I loved was that moment where he was like, if I could, I would cut the Oscar in pieces.
A Texas chainsaw, he said.
That was a clear notion that you knew that he was talking about horror movies, because Bong Joon-ho has clearly done a lot of horror movies, so he knows his literature, and Todd Phillips made a horror movie. That's what Joker was. And while 1917 wasn't a horror movie...
It was a war horror movie.
Sam Mendes has tipped his toe in there. So it was like you knew he knew all these people in this category, and it was really cool to watch that.
All right. So any last words about the Oscars before we move on to the review?
Get a host.
I think it's fine without a host. Just don't have people like the actor from 1917 was like, I'm going to introduce someone that's going to introduce someone.
I do love
someone. He panned
that.
He did that. So just don't do that. Just have an announcer introduce the presenter, and that's it.
Totally.
Don't have an actor presenter and then the nominees.
I mean, there's just so much wrong. I think just don't do this again.
Yeah.
Be ashamed of yourselves.
All right. Anyone else?
No.
All right. We're going to move on to the movie review.
Movie menu.
All right. The movie that we are reviewing is... If I can find it.
Birds of Prey.
Birds...
what was it again?
Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. Directed by Kathy Yan. Written by Christina Hodson. Here's the plot. After splitting with the Joker, Harley Quinn joins superheroes Black Canary, Huntress, and Renee Montoya to save a young girl, Cassandra Cain, from an evil crime lord. Starring Margot Robbie, Rosie Perez, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Journey Summerley Bell, Ella J. Bosco, Ewan McGregor, and Chris Messina. All right, guys. So we have all seen this film. So depending on our spoiler-free review, we shall decide if this movie's worth a dine-in, watch it in theaters, take out, wait to watch it at home, or leftovers. Drive a truck into a chemical plant to avoid watching this film.
And kill yourself?
That was good. Well, you could jump out.
Okay.
It's up to you.
I was like,
You just do that instead of watching the film. So, Candace, as our special guest, if you are able to convince us to go with your rating, you earn a point, and you have 10 points somehow accumulated. You can make a segment of your own choosing, movie related.
Oh, okay.
So there are high stakes involved in being on our show.
Oh, shoot.
On that note, let's go ahead and rate this film. Candace, as our guest, you can go first.
Okay. My rating is Takeout.
Oh, wait and watch it at home.
Wait, watching it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Z?
I think we have to watch all these movies from a scope of what DC can produce. So I would say within the DC universe, this movie is a dine-in. I actually enjoyed watching this movie, but that's only in comparison to Batman v Superman and all the other stinkers they've released. Suicide Squad. Oh, yeah. Whew. Yeah.
Mike?
It's gonna be a takeout, but I'm gonna say Z. I know this film isn't doing that well in theaters, so
which we'll talk about.
Yeah. But I was gonna say and I was no different. I expected this film to be terrible, and I enjoyed it, but it is a takeout for me.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm going to agree with Z. And
go
with the dine-in.
Fist bump. There we go. Yeah.
So it's 2 versus 2.
So generous.
Oh, we never agree on films. So that's wow.
That's
okay.
saying something. I had a lot of fun with this film.
I did too.
I thought this movie was going to be dog shit, and you know what? The problem with this movie is the trailers are terrible.
Yeah.
They don't do this movie justice.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
I was real close to saying Leftovers, but I didn't want to be an asshole.
You can change your category to
no,
Leftovers.
I don't. I won't change it because I think it was good enough to I had an okay time. I wasn't crawling out of it, dying, but there was a part of me that's like, when is this going to be over? Because I'm done.
What made you be done with it? I know
the whole story. I honestly, if I wasn't going to be on your show, I would never have gone to watch it.
Oh, okay.
I would not, and I'm a Harley Quinn fan.
I was going to ask, you were wearing Harley Quinn gear.
Okay.
So you liked Suicide Squad? Moment
of
truth. Here it is.
I'm an original Harley Quinn fan. I embrace her as a character because I have to love her. I continue to support her.
Okay,
sure. I hate the new, I don't know. Hate is a very
you don't like the
word.
Margot Robbie?
I love Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I liked the film. But I wish they would just have her do the original Harley.
Go back to
I hate this new
adaptation
of her that they're creating, and I'm like, I get it. I get what you're trying to do, but why not do an original? Because they haven't even done that yet, and they're trying to make it something else. And I'm like, do what everybody loves.
Yeah. I kind of agree with you on that, and I think that's. Yeah, I think the shadow of Suicide Squad, you can really feel it over this movie. But I think that, to some credit, I would say the reason why I really enjoyed this movie is because the nature of Harley Quinn was in this movie more so than the Suicide Squad. That sort of zany ridiculousness. I mean, the Jersey accent was spot on.
Yeah.
She could have got more Jersey.
She could have got more Jersey. But
Dr. J.
And then
Mr. J.
Mr. J. And then they brought the hyena in, which I thought was really funny. Just one out of the 2. It's okay. Next movie she'll get the second one. But I think that the spirit is coming back. What I can't get over, and I'll agree with you on this, are the face tattoos. Just make a plot line that she got them removed or something, because it just, every time I see them, I just cringe every time I would see them on screen. Because it's like, that's not Harley. That's not the Harley we know.
I mean, the whole thing is not the Harley we know, so I kind of don't care because I'm like, she's already far off the deep end right now. I'm like, whatever. This is a whole new. I have to like just go in with it.
Do you wish? I mean, they showed a clip of it during Suicide Squad when she's in like her
original
clown outfit.
Yeah.
Would you wish you would have kept in that whole feel of that era of Harley Quinn?
Like the original?
Right.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Like from Batman animated series, which she was created from.
That's from the original. Yeah. It's funny because like I love Batman the animated series. I forget what they call it with the BTAS. Like that's the foundations that a lot of us as '90s kids saw the Batman. Kevin Conroy as Batman is our Batman. But like I think that for me, what I saw in this movie was a blending of the BTAS. And the New 52 version of Harley Quinn, because they're clearly that's what I felt like this movie was an adaptation of Birds of Prey, the comic book from the New 52.
Yes.
Which wasn't the greatest, but it was definitely like this more bombastic, upfront Harley Quinn who is in the comics bisexual. You got a lot more of that coming out through this movie. And I'm part of me is like, I like what Margot Robbie's doing with it.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
I think that Margot Robbie, in the same way that Ryan Reynolds found Deadpool, like I think that there's a clear connection between these two characters, and to some extent, clearly the same people are working on those two films because David Leitch, not David Leitch, I think it might be David Leitch. It is. He worked on this movie, so you see the parallels there.
For the stunt work?
He did stunt work and second unit directing, and he did a lot of the reshoots. So you can tell a lot of the work is still in there.
A lot of the stunts they did themselves.
And they look fantastic.
That's really cool.
And I think that's the part for me that really sold me with this movie was that the action, I was like, this movie is going to suck. And because Suicide Squad was so half-assed made, the action scenes were so lame.
They were generic. They were very generic.
That the scene in an elevator was horrible with Harley Quinn. I was like, that's lazy. Like we just saw Captain America kick some ass.
The table.
Yeah, I know. We saw Captain America kicking ass in an elevator. You cannot put the character into an elevator and not do something that's better than that. But I think that this movie did a really good job of setting up the character and then getting the character to a premise in which he has to fight a lot of people. The moment where you see in the trailer with her assaulting the police station was hilarious.
That was, I love that part.
And it was really, really cool to watch because it was Harley Quinn, right? She wasn't shooting them with bullets. She was shooting them with paint or glitter or whatever.
That was like my favorite scene.
Yeah. And it was really funny. It was to the core of the character, and the action and the plot played off each other really well to the point where it was sort of like this blending of timelines in which it had to really explain things backwards, and I think that's the psychotic nature of Harley Quinn.
That's what I liked about the film as well.
Yeah,
I love the non-linear storytelling, as well as like you couldn't trust Harley Quinn telling the story because she's batshit crazy.
Yep.
And then when the other characters were introduced, like they were literally like give the wrong name. Like the Huntress had a totally different name or whatever. It was fun. And I really enjoyed the dynamics between the females in this movie.
Yes.
They were so badass that when they were fighting together, I don't know if you guys
they complimented each other.
They complimented each other, but it was like one continuous shot. It was like the Avengers, when they do the roundabout. But this one was them fighting, like passing a hair tie because her hair is in the way.
I love that part. I was like, yes.
That was like, yes, that would happen in a fight.
Yeah. I love that, and just again the silliness of it all because I love the Huntress as a comic book character, and then bringing her into the story, I was really, really scared. And I think they let her character down a lot. Huntress in the comic books is super badass. And even at that, Cassandra Cain is Batgirl in the freaking comic books, and he couldn't give her at least a bone to play with in this movie. But I think that they did a really good job of just kind of bringing these characters in, bringing them into the I don't even know what to call it, the Snyderverse. Is this a Snyderverse?
I don't think it's a Snyderverse anymore.
No, but it is continuation of that, because you had the Batfleck who came into the Snyderverse, and they started to kind of really kind of create them. Like, how would they be created in this world? So I like that. I like that you had, Huntress be socially awkward and doesn't understand how to communicate with others because she was part of an assassination plot. Like, that's all within the comic books themselves, and they did a really good job of telling that story.
They did.
And I enjoyed. I forgot her name. The detective.
Rosie
Perez,
Renee
who plays
Montoya.
Renee Montoya, who in the comic books, Renee Montoya, who becomes the Question, I think, she or the Unknown, some hero. I think she was actually based off of Renee. The character was based off of Rosie Perez.
She's always been Gordon.
Second in command.
Second in command.
Yeah. But I think she was actually based off of Rosie Perez. So I think that was a really cool thing to watch. That she's more older, and so you had a real big reason as to why she's being pushed out.
Which I like that. I like the fact that they
cool.
went with an older actress.
Yeah.
For the role, which is not who I thought they would have gone for Renee Montoya, but I thought that was cool.
No, I thought that was fantastic. And then you had Ewan McGregor and Chris Messina. The lovable gay couple in the story, which pissed me off the most because they never went fully gay, and that's where the original plot to Birds of Prey comes out.
Now, this is did you read the script?
It was like a leak synopsis script, yes, I did read it because of course I have to read everything online. So yes, I did read this unofficial original script. So essentially, in the original script, you had Roman Sionis, the Black Mask, who has a romantic relationship with Victor Zsasz in the movie itself, and you get to see hints of that. Right? They're fighting each other, and you can tell it's like a romantic squabble between them two. You can tell some of the reshoots of Zsasz are made more sexualized towards the women. Which again, that's a
Victor was who?
Victor Zsasz, the blonde guy who had scars all over.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, who everyone. I mean, I love that villain in the story.
Yeah.
But in the story initially, that diamond wasn't encoded. So in the story, the plot is that the diamond that they're all hunting because Cassandra Cain steals it is encoded with like passwords to a bunch of money that's saved somewhere. So they need to find it. In the original plot, that actually was a gift for Victor Zsasz's collection because Black Mask actually imprinted his dick onto the diamond itself. So it was a dick pic. And he was trying to gift it to him. So, of course, if somebody found a dick pic, which Harley Quinn would have, they would have made fun of him. He would have lost all cred. And so that was the reason why he wanted it back. That sounds to me like a Harley Quinn story. It's really ridiculous. And it makes sense as to why Ewan McGregor was playing the character as very, very campy and gay. Which, by the way, who else would you give that role to? Ewan McGregor is amazing, right? Like he's the guy. He did camp really well in Star Wars. So instead, they got rid of this plot and they replaced it with this other contrived plot. But you have all the little seeds of them being romantically related.
Actually, it was the person who was supposed to play Black Mask was
yes. I forgot the actor. Yeah,
he's a great actor. He won Best Supporting actor for 3 Billboards.
Shoot.
Sam Rockwell?
Sam Rockwell. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He was original. He was. Wow. They wanted him to play Black Mask, but he turned it down. And then Ewan McGregor got the role, and I think Kathy Ann was like,
really well.
"You want to be like Sam Rockwell."
Oh, I see.
Mm-hmm. So, anyways, that's.
Which I think Ewan McGregor did a great job, as well as Chris Messina.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Great.
Ewan McGregor is a phenomenal actor. He can never do wrong. But I didn't care for his character. Yeah. I thought it was boring. Yeah. I thought I don't know. And the story was stupid and I just didn't like anything.
Would you have preferred it to be a dick pic? Would that
No, that was even stupider. I'm like, what? No. This whole thing was just like,
I would have loved it if. I mean, again, you're right. I think the problem with the Snyderverse is that the stakes are not high enough. We don't feel like there's real involvement or even development of villains.
I will say the one thing of the story I did enjoy a lot was the fact that the whole Gotham, when they found out that Harley Quinn was no longer Joker's girl, that everyone went after her.
Yeah,
I thought that was it was
fun.
like a John Wick type of assassination.
That's totally it.
Which would have been really cool, and I wish they would have gone further with that. But I really like the aspect of it. I wish they would have gone further with it.
Yeah, no. I think that the movie is fun to watch. I think that it's not getting enough support in the box office because, it is Oscars weekend, so you wouldn't get a lot of fanfare. But I think that again, the shadow of Suicide Squad over it makes it so people just don't go and watch it. Is it unwatchable? No, it's a lot of fun, and I think that if you are allowing yourself to take your brain out of your body and just watch it. I feel like in the same way that I liked Atomic Blonde, I really enjoyed this movie because it's within the same sort of John Wick realm of action and humor that I could just simply say, you know what, this movie's intended to be fun. That's
John
it.
Wick is a really good movie. Don't compare it to that.
But it's the same.
But
it's the
We're talking
same
about the
like
action.
this.
We're talking about the action.
Yeah.
though.
No,
and it's
even
the same.
that,
But it's the
I don't-
same director, same talent behind all of it.
Well, yeah, there was no like
I don't
head gunshots throughout the whole film. Like, we have a couple comments real quick. So Martha says you're welcome, and wow, that sound like
Hey.
fighting words. And hi, Heather says hi everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey,
She's
Heather.
like, so it's
going,
better than
Heather?
Suicide Squad? Yes, it's better than
Yeah,
Suicide
it's
Squad.
much better than Suicide
I
Squad.
don't know.
Yeah.
Wow, Suicide Squad is awful. Jesse, yeah, right. Says, what up, fam? What up, fam? How's it going?
Cool.
How's it going?
So let's continue this. So let's talk about the Birds of Prey and Harley Quinn performances. So what do you guys think of like Journey Solomon Bell, who played Black Canary? What do you think of her performance in this film? How did you guys like her as Black Canary?
I think they did the best they could with what they had. Like, I think Black Canary is such a great character in the stories that they haven't been able to do justice to it. And that's even comparing the Arrowverse to this. I love the actress.
I thought she was pretty badass.
No, I thought she did a fantastic job. I think she was again doing the best she could. But is that Black Canary from like my comic book history? No, I didn't like.
Well, I guess she didn't earn the title till like the end, I guess.
And I also, yes, but I also feel like there was like some, I don't know if there was like a subtext that before her mom was Black Canary and she had died, and that's why she was upset with the police.
Yeah, that was.
Is
the
that
scene
what was being like?
Yeah,
like,
that was the scene between
half-assed
her
spoken?
and Rosie Perez.
Okay, that's what I thought too. So I mean, like I said, best she could with what she had. I think I enjoyed watching. I mean, she was great because she was fantastic at the fighting, and I really enjoyed all that. Again, I think the reason why you should watch this movie is for the relationships. Her relationship with Harley Quinn.
Which is, they have a great line. She's like, "Oh, you're the singer that no one listens to," and she's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
you're the asshole no one likes."
Yeah,
It's
just
just funny.
just great. Yeah,
And the hair
absolutely.
tie moment.
On the hair
I
tie
like that moment.
moment.
That's so good.
And then just Mary Elizabeth Winstead, like the way that she played it, and again how she was like the fish out of water was really fun to watch.
And I felt like going in this, I felt like the movie was going to fall flat in the trailers. Nothing looked good, but this movie is actually a lot of it's funny. There's a lot of funny moments in there.
It's very humorous. A lot of like nasty jokes. And again, I would say that this movie has some relation to Deadpool because it just feels like the jokes are as nasty.
Candace,
as.
did you like Deadpool? Did you see Deadpool?
I did like Deadpool, and it was not as funny as Deadpool. We have
Really?
such differing opinions.
Did you not feel like the nastiness of the humor was still there though?
It was rated R.
I thought it was like the jokes were dumb. Like I thought I hated the whole like this is the person that I offended and this is the grievance, and they popped up and I was like, okay, I get what you're trying to do, but it's not funny. Like it felt like it was trying too hard to be funny, and I'm like, Deadpool didn't feel like. I think maybe it's because Ryan Reynolds is funny. I liked Margot Robbie. Like, I think all her Harley Quinn lines were great. I thought everybody else was so boring.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that the titles you're talking about were from Suicide Squad, so they had to continue them in some way. And I was like, did you have to?
Frank Esposito says hello,
Hey.
Hello.
Hi.
and then Martha says not much can be funnier than Deadpool. Yeah.
Not much can be funnier. There's a lot more funnier. Watch Airplane, for example.
Oh,
That's
true.
an amazing movie.
I think comic book wise.
Oh, comic book wise.
Mike, what did you think about the movie since you're also a takeout? And
Yeah, one of my favorite scenes for whatever reason, and like there was I really enjoyed the misleading clip in the trailer. There's a scene in the trailer where Harley Quinn's crying for something, and it's like, okay, somebody dies or whatever.
Oh yeah.
and then like to see like what really happens, I was like, yeah, that was great. I'm happy that's why she cried. Okay.
Yeah.
And I was like,
That part was good.
I was on board with that scene, and there's this one scene, I don't know why, but I just really liked how it was directed, which was the cooking scene for the sandwich. I don't know what kind of sandwich it was, or like a torta.
It looked great.
It reminded me of like Chef, like I don't know, like how the egg was like shaking on the pan. I was like, it's pretty good. but
Did you get hungry afterwards?
Yeah, but like the humor in the film was kind of hit and miss for me. There was more action the action was better than I expected.
Yes, I agree with that.
But I wouldn't say it was like comparable to like John Wick.
No.
No. You can't get as crazy as you can with John Wick, though.
Yeah. But I know it was kind of like trying to achieve that, and there were a lot of things that they were trying to achieve, like there was
this besides Joker, which is not really in this universe.
Nope.
This is like the first R-rated DC film within the same universe of the other films, because all the other films were PG-13. This is the first R-rated. So I mean, good for them for taking a chance, I think.
Yeah. I think it was like a hodgepodge of all these other like better films, like for example, like Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Agreed.
Yes.
And then they pulled things from like Kill Bill. Like very specifically, like Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character, the same as Lucy Liu's character, and what was it, Lucy Liu's character in Kill Bill, the revenge story, and also how it was represented, and then there are like other films, but overall, I think it was like. You could, as Dan had mentioned earlier, before we podcasted, Dan had talked about how he had saw Ma, and he mentioned that he saw it because it was on HBO. This movie, like, you could watch it if it's on HBO.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, like I said, I would rate this movie on a spectrum of DC movies, and that's the reason why I would put it.
But would you?
As a film,
would you spend?
Oh no, I agree with you.
Would
guys.
you spend 15?
Yeah.
Would you spend $15 on it?
No, absolutely
No.
not. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's in the
which
lexicon.
I did. Though.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to watch it.
Yeah, but on the lexicon of movies, no, it's not a movie you're going to want to rush out to watch it in theaters. But I do feel like because it is a female-led movie, because it does have a lot of women kicking ass in this movie, I think people should go watch and support it. I think that
That's what I did like.
Yeah.
I did like the female empowerment of the movie, and I did notice, and that did bother me too. I was like, oh wow, it's funny how this is like an awesome comic book movie that's coming out, and I'm here, like, I went on Thursday night, so it's released on Friday. I went the Thursday night, the pre-day, whatever, and nobody was there.
Yeah,
it was so empty. I thought the tickets were going to be sold out, and I was like, I got to get the tickets ahead of time. I went, and I was like, there's like 5 people in the theater, and I was like, oh, is it because this is an all-female led movie, because it was written by a female, directed by a female, and that bothered me so much. And I was just like, man, why does this suck? And like, I don't know. So it bothered me, but definitely the women kicking ass was one of my favorite parts. Like, I love that it's led by a female, all this other stuff, but I mean, but I also can't justify like watching it because the story does suck. Like, it was terrible, but I don't know.
I wouldn't say that it's terrible. I think that it does what it needs to do, which is set up the next 2 movies. And I think with that, we would need to talk about spoilers, but I think it does the job in needing to say, like, this is now Harley Quinn outside of the Suicide Squad. This is now the universe we're going to be playing in, where we're now establishing the Birds of Prey, because that's the title. I'm not spoiling anything there. And then the next movie will have to be something along the lines of Gotham City Sirens. And then finally the last one should be somewhere along the lines of them two fighting each other. And I think that should be fun.
So I get that this is supposed to set up more movies, but it shouldn't suck.
I agree.
Like, it should be a good movie, and they all should just be good movies. So I was like, they could have made the story so much more. It just should have been better.
Yeah. No,
it was entertaining and fun, but it wasn't a good film.
Yeah. Totally. Yes, it was, but then that's what I mean. Like, what do you feel like sucked the most out of this film? Like, what's the thing that really kind of like drained it all out?
I just feel like I didn't care about the story. Like, I love the characters, and they could have done so much more with them. Like, she's just an awesome character they have on a platform, and they are just squandering it on cheap thrills.
Yeah. Okay. So the writing for
there could have been substance, and there wasn't.
So the writing, you think, was the thing that was really kind of like lacking in this?
Yeah, I really do. I really liked the moment, honestly, because the most honest part of the film that I really enjoyed the most was her breakdown in the bar, where she's talking about how she's confessing to Black Canary, right? About her breakup. And she's like, I haven't told anybody, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then she like is, and then she goes and I don't know if that's a spoiler. I mean, they say
it doesn't matter. You
whatever.
Can
They like blow. She blows up the whole, and she's like, "This is where we met." Blah blah blah. And I'm like, that was such an honest, true moment, and that was like, yes, she's walking away from this toxic relationship, and I thought that was so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I connected with her on that level, and I was just like, this is what I want to see, like her transition from her Joker relationship into her emancipation. I'm like, yes. And then they gave her this stupid story that like.
Yeah.
I was like, what is that?
Yeah, I get you. And to be fair, this movie rests in the hands of Christina Hodson. So she wrote Bumblebee, which I really liked Bumblebee. I thought it was a really good coming-of-age story.
Good movie.
Yeah.
But she also did Unforgetful, which was a pretty awful women fighting around a man story. So just, as like a point of reference as to maybe why this movie needed a little more assistance is that it just didn't have the best writing staff. And I've said it before. I feel like a lot of these movies need to have more of a bigger writing staff than just simply one writer. You can have one director, but have multiple writers on there. Especially writers who know the character. Jeff Johns was credited in this movie, but I don't think he had a whole lot of involvement in there. And Jeff Johns is the guy who wrote New 52. He's the one who revamped the Harley Quinn character, but I don't think they involved him as much.
Gotcha.
Well. Let's go ahead and give our final thoughts.
Sure.
Candace, go with your review again. Why you have a takeout? Give your final thoughts on that.
So I'm sticking with my takeout review because I think this is a fun, lighthearted movie if you want to see it and be like, well, I just want to have a good time and watch Harley Quinn and see some fun jokes and some women kicking ass. Sure, but don't go pay $15 to watch a good movie because you're not going to get a good story from it. It's just fun.
Z?
Yeah, you're not going to get the Joker. I agree with you on that. I feel like Joker was a standout hit, and I think that it actually comparatively made the DC universe that much more difficult to really balance out. Because you have on one side the best of the best, which is Joker, which is now an Academy-nominated and awarded film. And then on the other spectrum of things, you have Zack Snyder's universe. Name whichever movie, like, Man of Steel or Batman vs. Superman or, all those movies. And then you have Harley Quinn, this really fun character, which we should have a real fun movie about. But you get this one instead. And I think that, not to knock it to the extent, it is not as bad as the Snyderverse movies, but I think it rests somewhere neatly in the middle. Does that make it a great movie? No, it's not Joker. But is it an enjoyable movie? Yeah, I really had a good time. I loved watching women kick ass, and I loved the relationships in the movie. I think Harley Quinn was as zany as she is in the comic books, and sometimes that can become aggravating, which I'm glad a lot of the characters called her out on. So I think if anything, watch it for a good feel good time.
Mike?
I think that so this film was more fun than expected, had better action than expected, but I think ultimately, like 3 months from now, I'm not going to remember this movie.
Okay. Okay. All right.
All right. I think this movie was a good introduction to the new rated R version of DC films that I think has fun action. I think the story, it was basic, but overall, you go for the characters, for the relationships with the characters, and the action itself, and I feel like it delivered on that.
Yeah.
So I think you should watch it in theaters and have a fun time.
And here's the last bonus, is there is no Jared Leto in this movie at all.
Yeah, there is not.
I was reading that they were trying to bring him in, and that because of scheduling issues, they did the animation instead.
I'm glad, because that was like
I
old
love
school.
the animation.
Yeah, that was old
That
school.
was the best.
Yeah,
that was really
yeah.
good.
Yes,
but
yes, yes.
no Jared Leto, which makes me even 100 times happier.
So I forgot about the animation part because it was a forgettable movie, but that part was amazing. I was like, that brought me back a little bit.
totally.
You're forgetting parts of the movie
Yeah, I
already.
already
you see?
forgot.
But on the bright side, no hubba hubba hubba. None of that bullshit that you got from that stupid ass Suicide Squad movie.
All right, so we have 2 takeouts and 2 dine-ins.
So should we do like a Rochambeau for it?
Nah, we'll let Candace win. As
Okay,
our
we'll let
guest.
her win for it.
So we rate Birds of Prey.
Take out as it should be.
Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. Takeout.
Yeah, I can tell
We
you
didn't
don't,
watch it
you
at
don't
home.
you don't buy that at all. But yes.
He's like,
I don't agree with that, but we're gonna go ahead and rate that.
Yeah.
So Candace, great job. Mike, great job. You guys win.
Yay.
So, Candace, thank you so much for being on our show. Go ahead and tell everyone where they can follow you, where they can check out your work and your streaming.
Yeah, so pretty standard across the board. If you just look up my name, Candace Dovie, on any social media platform, that's where you'll find me. But I am a Twitch streamer, so if you go to twitch.tv/Candace Dovie, I stream video games. So come chat with me.
And what do you call
have a great time.
What do you call your followers?
The Candy Fam.
Yeah,
So come join the Candy Fam.
Be part of the Candy Fam. And you post when you go live on your social media, so make sure to follow her.
Instagram, Twitter, my Discord server, which is the Candyland.
Make sure to go follow her there. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Z.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Thank
now
you.
I'm Don the Man. Make sure to check out our social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Visit our website, moviemaniapodcast.com. Subscribe to us if you would prefer an audio version on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. We are there. Make sure to subscribe, comment, rate, and review. We'd really appreciate that. And we'll be back next week with a new episode of Movie Menu Reviews.
Yay.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much,
Thank you for having
Candace.
me. This
Until
was
next
fun.
time.
Bye.
Goodbye.
2, 3, 4.